जब तक हम मुसलमानों को वोट बैंक के रूप में देखते आएंगे, तब तक हमेशा ये वोट बैंक की ठेकेदारी करने वाले दलाल और नेता पैदा होंगे।
Welcome back. You're watching To The Point. The Shiv Sena magazine Saamna's call for disenfranchising Muslims was shocking and disturbing. But almost as disturbing is the silence from most senior BJP ministers, and that includes the Prime Minister, who on Saturday proudly told UNESCO that India would never discriminate between people on the grounds of religion or culture. So what should we make of these twin developments? My guests are Shiv Sena spokesperson Manisha Kayande, a senior BJP member Sudhanshu Mittal, and the chief editor of Nai Duniya, Shahid Siddiqui. Shahid Siddiqui, an editorial in Saamna, the Shiv Sena paper, has said that the voting rights of Muslims should be revoked because the community is often used for vote bank politics. How do you respond to that?
How can any sensible, reasonable person who believes in democracy respond? India is what India is today because we chose ballot over bullet. And the day you take away the ballot, you are paving the way for the bullet. So this country is great because of our democracy, and Indian Muslims have rejected all sorts of terrorism, all sorts of extremism, whether in Kashmir or IS or anywhere, because they believe that their grievance, the best way to, and the best safety valve for them is the ballot. And if somebody talks like this, I think it's extremely dangerous. It's not dangerous only for Muslims, it's dangerous for this country and for our democracy and whatever we have built up in the last 65 years.
Manisha Kayande, what the Saamna editorial proposes is not just unconstitutional, but it would completely undermine India's proud boast to be the biggest democracy in the world. How do you, as spokesperson of the Shiv Sena, justify this editorial?
Well, if anybody has read the article which is written in Marathi word by word, anybody would understand it's very clear that it is focused or criticizing the so-called secular parties who have used the Muslim community, who have kept them at the bay of poverty, who have kept them backward, who have never bothered for their real upliftment.
But the problem, Manisha Ji, is that the remedy, but the problem, Manisha Ji, is that the remedy that article suggests is disenfranchising Muslims.
Karan, please let me complete my contention. Nowhere the article says that the party will write to the parliament or to the election commission. What if you're just reading one sentence? The sentence is rhetoric.
Hang on a second, that's a very important thing you're saying. You're saying something very important. If that one sentence is rhetoric, are you saying you don't mean it?
The vote bank politics.
No, Manisha Ji, I'm interrupting you. Manisha Ji, I'm interrupting you because you said something very important. You said that sentence, that one sentence is rhetoric. Does that mean you don't mean it?
Well, you understand, Karan, what is a rhetoric? Okay, I think we
are said for effect.
Into the grammar of it.
Rhetoric is something said for effect.
You're not reading the earlier text and the later text. Read each word, and it's very justified. It is criticizing the vote bank politics and the MIM, the party which has come into existence. It is trying to corrupt the minds of young Muslims.
Let me stop you there. I want to bring in Sudhanshu Mittal. Sudhanshu Mittal, at one point, Manisha Kayande said that one sentence is rhetoric. When I asked her if does that mean they don't mean what they've said in that one sentence, she then seemed to have done a U-turn. I want to ask you, as an ally of the Shiv Sena, and bear in mind the Shiv Sena is the BJP's oldest ally. Do you and does your party support what the Shiv Sena Saamna editorial has proposed, or do you criticize it and distance yourself? Give me a straightforward, clear answer.
Mr. Thapar, one thing straight. Nobody can defranchise anybody. That is the constitutional provision. So, on the issue of anybody getting defranchised, it's very straight answer. Now, I don't think anybody has read the article. Now, this proposition of defranchising is addressed to who? Is it addressed to government of India? Is it addressed to any particular party or
How
what?
does it matter who it's addressed to? It's a proposal being made by Saamna, the official paper of Shiv Sena. How does it matter who it's addressed to? It's a proposal being made by Saamna, the official paper of Shiv Sena. It reflects their thinking.
Not a proposal.
How come the Prime Minister is silent?
He has made this proposal to whom? No, he has said the Muslims should come forward for this.
The Muslims should disenfranchise themselves?
There is a constitutional remedy which is required for this.
Oh, come on, Mr. Mittal. Are you saying Saamna wants the Muslims to disenfranchise themselves?
That is a tragedy. Mr. Thapar, the tragedy is you want to create a mountain out of a mole. You have not even read it.
Oh, no, hang on a second.
Let me read out the text to you.
Translated versions of that editorial are in every newspaper today.
Sir, this is the original version. And I am reading out of the original version, which is the Hindi official printout of the Saamna. Now let me read it out to you. What does it say? उस दिन सभी सेक्युलर वादियों के मखौटे खुद ब खुद उतर जाएंगे मुसलमानों की बदहाली को लेकर कितने
आप पूरा एडिटोरियल पढ़ के इस डिस्कशन को डिफ्लेक्ट करने की कोशिश ना करिए मित्तल साहब मुझे पता है कि डिफ्लेक्ट करने में आप मास्टर हैं असलियत ये है जो आप भूल जा रहे हैं असलियत ये है कि that editorial ends by saying that Bal Thackeray's position taken 15 years ago to disenfranchise Muslims is still the correct thing to do. Now I want to bring in Shahid Siddiqui and I want to raise the justification Manisha Kayande was proposing. And the justification I'm talking Mr. Mittal to Shahid Siddiqui. Maaf kariye Mittal sahab, main Siddiqui sahab se baat kar raha hu. The point is this, Mr. Siddiqui, listen to me. There's no doubt that the proposal to disenfranchise Muslims is not just abhorrent, reprehensible and unacceptable. No one would deny that. But there is another point which Manisha Kayande was alluding to, which many people do share, that many parties treat the Muslim community like a vote bank. And that annoys some people, it becomes a problem for others. Some people argue that it in fact undermines the effectiveness of India's democracy. I'm leaving aside this business of disenfranchising, but would you accept that treating Muslims as a vote bank is also reprehensible and wrong?
Karan, about 2 months before the Lok Sabha elections, I had written an article in Times of India, the secular vote jizya. And this was, and I had said that secular parties have been taking jizya from the Muslims in the form of their votes for protection. That it is true, but it's also hilarious. It's like a wolf saying that, look, the sheep are endangered by the lion and therefore they should come under my protection. So if the wolf wants to protect the sheep, it's hilarious the way Shiv Sena is trying to empathize and sympathize with Muslims and trying to save them from so-called secularism. But yes, everybody has been used as a vote bank. No, the Marathi Manush, the Jats, the Dalits, the Bengalis, the Hindus. So why only the myth of Muslim vote bank, and there is no Muslim vote bank? The Kerala Muslim has always voted differently from the Bengal Muslim, and Bengal Muslim has voted differently from UP Muslim. UP Muslim has voted differently from Madhya Pradesh Muslim.
That's a very fair point.
Yes,
that's a fair point.
This myth has been deliberately created to push them to the wall.
Manisha Kayande, the Saamna,
make their vote absolutely meaningless.
Manisha Kayande, the Saamna editorial juxtaposes this call for revoking Muslim voting rights alongside with the comment that A, Muslims are exploited, and B, expressing a certain measure of concern for their lack of development. Now the point I want to make to you is this: if Saamna or your party is genuinely concerned about Muslim development, why have you revoked the 5% reservation in education, which the High Court did not strike down? That would have been a very good measure for ensuring their development, but you revoked it.
Well, let me answer this. During the previous BJP Shiv Sena regime, it was our government that built the Hajj house. It was our government that gave extra FSIs to their institutions, to the minority institutions. And even now, if you see that Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister, is speaking of putting up computers in the madarsas. He is speaking of putting computers in the madarsas. so that they get accustomed to the latest technology and come in par with the others. So I think this article has been completely misinterpreted, or it is a deliberate purpose to create a fight between Shiv Sena and BJP and put the real issue. The real issue is something else. It is targeting to the so-called secular parties which have been misguiding the Muslims.
I'm afraid the remedy that you suggested for targeting those secular parties was the unacceptable proposal of disenfranchising Muslims. You can't escape from that no matter how much you want to spin it.
Where does the article say? Where does the article say that we are writing a letter to the Election Commission?
You don't need to write a letter to anyone. You are proposing it in a newspaper as a solution that you believe is necessary.
Just imagine, Karan, just imagine the situation.
Can I say?
It's just creating some big picture out of nothing.
Well, actually, your magazine or your Saamna has created the big picture out of nothing by writing offensively in this terms. Let me put this to you, Sudhanshu Mittal. I want to
There is nothing offensive about it. Bala Sahib Thackeray had said this very loud
Just
and clear.
because Bala Sahib Thackeray said it doesn't mean it's right.
If they were not.
Just because Bala Sahib Thackeray said it doesn't mean it's right. He was fallible. He was a man. He made mistakes. Sometimes he made terrible mistakes. He's not the oracle of Delphi.
But you're not thinking it in a greater content.
Okay.
Not understanding the meaning of the article.
Let me put the greater content to Sudhanshu Mittal. Give me a chance, Manisha, to bring in someone else. I want to quote to you, Sudhanshu Mittal, what the Prime Minister said in June in his first speech in the Lok Sabha. He was talking about Muslims. These are his exact words. We need focused activity to change the lives of Muslims. They cannot be left behind in development. And then he added, I do not view such programs within the prism of appeasement. I see them to bring about a change in their lives. Now that the Shiv Sena has very clearly contradicted the Prime Minister's position, why is the Prime Minister not speaking out and saying, I disagree with what Saamna is proposing? After all, this is an issue where the Prime Minister's clarity is needed, otherwise his silence leaves people disturbed and worried, and he's silent at the moment.
Again, as I said, Mr. Thapar, I don't think you've read the article. I'm very sure on that. Because this article itself propounds what Prime Minister had said, that you have to look at Muslims from the prism of development, for their benefits, and not for appeasement politics.
But the Prime Minister never propounded the disenfranchisement of Muslims as a remedy or cure for the fact that secular parties treat Muslims as a vote bank. That's what this article does, and that's what the Prime Minister should say he disagrees with.
Sir, can I answer? Can I answer? You making very
Karan,
serious
I want to ask a question to Sudhanshu.
Go ahead.
Sir, can I finish? Then you please ask me. Let me just finish.
Go ahead. Answer, please. Mr.
I just heard
Shahid
Saab talking about the wolf. I just heard Shahid Saab talking about the wolf. Shahid Saab, this article is very interestingly referring to the wolves. And what does it say? It says कि ये सारी गतिविधियां जो है ये दुखदाई हैं. उस वक्त दुख होने की बजाय हम खुशी करते हैं जब भड़काऊ भाषण दिए जाते हैं. जब अबू आजमी हिंदुओं को उकसा रहा था, तब सभी मान रहे थे कि राष्ट्रवाद नाच रहा है, लेकिन ये जहर है.
जो गलती आप फिर कर रहे हैं, ये दूसरी बार आप गलती कर रहे हैं, is you're concentrating on the criticism of secular parties treating Muslims as a vote bank. Many would agree with that criticism. It's the remedy. It's the remedy that people disagree with. The remedy is disenfranchise Muslims.
Just 1 minute. Sir, just 1 minute.
But very quickly, because I'm running out of time now.
Listen to other side also. Just 1 minute. This article is written in the context of the Bandra by-election, in which 17 crores were offered by the NCP.
It's not the context in which the article is written that matters. It's the solution the article is suggesting that is abhorrent.
And it does not say that we must disfranchise them. It says the Muslims should come forward for this.
The Muslims should come forward to disenfranchise themselves. The Muslims should come forward to disenfranchise themselves. That's a bit like asking turkeys to vote for Christmas. Wonderful. That becomes even more fancy. Go ahead, Mr. Siddiqui, you can have the last one. Very quickly.
Can I come in?
Very quickly. Very quickly.
Yes. Karan, it's a reflection of a particular kind of mentality and sentiment. But what I want to ask Sudhanshu is that It's not just Saamna. It is Sakshi Maharaj who has said today that Muslims should be defranchised because they produce more children, and unless they start, all those who have more than 2 children should be defranchised. That is what he has said. Does he agree with that? Or does he also start reading, or would he start reading the Saamna? Is he not a member of parliament of BJP? Is he not a member of parliament of BJP?
Mr. Siddiqui, let him answer.
Mr.
Siddiqui, let him answer. Very quickly, Mr. Mittal, do you support what Sakshi Maharaj said?
If a member of parliament is talking wrong, you want me to support him?
He's from your party.
If a member of parliament is talking with something which is not a party line, do you want me to support him?
He's from your party.
So what? So if he's saying something
I
wrong,
don't want you to support him. I want you to condemn him.
He's right.
So say
you condemn him. Why don't you condemn him?
There is no question. There is no question of anybody disfranchising anybody. This is the constitution of this country.
I only wish the Prime Minister would say that as
you are not condemning it. There is no question
this evening.
You can do it. Even if you want to do it, you cannot do it.
Because he's the moral head of this country,
our democracy does not allow it.
And
you will not be able to do it even if you want to do it.
Such moral issues,
So
and tell his allies when they make silly mistakes that they are being foolish. All right, gentlemen, you're quarreling with each other. We've run right out of time. This is clearly one of those contentious issues which is also embarrassing for the BJP, and the BJP is in a cleft stick where it wants to distance itself from its ally, but at the same time not offend the ally. I'm going to have to end this particular episode there. This is one of those disturbing moments when Indian politicians and Indian political parties embarrass themselves, embarrass the country, and actually offend their countrymen as well. Saamna would have done a lot better to have maintained total silence. If you have been, thanks for watching. Goodbye. Good night.